Welcome, greetings, and salutations to those looking for editorial help, advice, or a slap with an editorial hammer. My name is Walt, and this is Keystroke Medium's Ask the Editor with Ellen Campbell. Surprise, surprise, today we have with us Ellen Campbell. Hello.
Hey, Walt, how's it going?
I'm under-caffeinated but overstimulated because I just got back with a big run from the dog. So
Nice.
So now he's lazily laying down for the next 15 to 30 seconds before he starts annoying the crap out of me again. What's going on your side of the screen?
Well, we made a friend at the dog park this week, or well, last week, I guess. So now we have a dog park friend that we don't hate.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, is that for both of the boys or just one?
Both of them. It's a lady named Lil and her coonhound, Lucy. So another rescue dog, but she actually trains her dog. And
So her dogs don't dig then?
oh, I don't know. She lives in an apartment, so who could say?
Right on.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I love your dogs, I gotta say. I know you're having a little problems with Ribsy right now, but your dogs are absolutely cute. I love seeing pictures of them. They're fantastic.
They're cute, which is good because they're little jerks.
They have to make up for it somehow.
Right.
So we're going to go and dig into some questions first, and then I believe you have a sample to check out a little bit later. So we'll start with the questions. So question number one came to me from Twitter, and this was, what's the easiest way to find an editor if you've never dealt with one before? Is there like an Editors Are Us or an Editor Mart, something like that?
Well, there kind of is, and it depends. I mean, you can go on places like Ribsy and find editors, Fiverr and find editors, and you might luck out and get a super duper good editor that way. What I would do if I were you and looking for an editor for the first time is I'd start asking my friends or writers that I knew or people who wrote things that I admired, who is your editor? And just start making a list. And whoever's name crops up the most, contact them.
Now, what about like looking on the cover of a book you really enjoy, and or looking in the credits and seeing an editor that way? Is that do you ever get work like that?
I honestly don't know. Sometimes I don't know where the work came from.
They just hit you out of the blue?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, that's what the website is for. You know, it's like here I am. So yeah. I
Gotcha.
know I've been included on some editors' lists in different publications and stuff, so I imagine I get some of it that way. I get referrals from clients. I get referrals from other editors. I also refer to other editors, so I mean, it's not a one-way street.
Right on. From Scott Nelson, that little curly Q punctuation mark, how does it work? You know the one. And in the question that he submitted through Facebook, it looks like he's talking about a comma.
A comma. How does it work? A comma is what you put in so your sentence don't sound like this, and you just keep. A comma accents the natural pauses in a sentence. So and they're pretty easy to find. The spaces where they go. If you have to, you can read it aloud. And where you stop to take a breath, that's probably where the comma goes. You know, listen to the cadence of the sentence and stick the comma where you slow down. Or
Do you think he needs a slap for that one?
I really do. I mean, that's definitely slap worthy. Right upside the back of the head.
um, Tyler Davis, and we're going to insert our not safe for work tag because, that's just the way that this particular question came in. Dialogue tags versus action beats versus frivolous bullshit, like setting a glass on a table. When and why to use the first two and why to cut the rest?
Well, you use dialogue tags to identify the people speaking. You don't need nearly as many as most people. You don't need a dialogue tag after every line or two of dialogue. You don't need dialogue tags for the entirety of a conversation. If there are two people in a conversation, you can identify them at the beginning and then just have them exchange conversation. Where am I? Okay, and action beats. Action beats are what people use typically to break up a sentence so that I don't know why that somewhere at some point someone said, if you insert an action beat into your leading sentence of dialogue, you will be a success or something, you shall be set free. I don't know what it is, but it's not necessary. Action beats are he looked at, somebody doing something that you kind of use in place of a dialogue tag because, oh my gosh, you're not allowed to use this, which is also complete crap. You're not allowed to use non-standard tags. You can only use said, and you can only use it on this side of the. No, just so they think that they're getting boring with the said, the said, the said, the said, the said. So they insert stared, or looked, or glanced, or gazed, or many other things that made it to the list. So, and you don't need them. Truly, truly. I mean, it's possible for people to say 5 or 6 paragraphs worth of stuff without ever inserting an action beat or a dialogue tag. In fact, I could point you to 60 pages of dialogue. Well, it's actually narration. It's not dialogue, so I take it back. It's narration. But yeah, I mean, you use the tag when necessary to identify the players, the speakers, and just stop thinking that you have to put one with every sentence. Oh, and by the way, you don't have to put them at the end of the sentence. You can mix that up a little by putting them at the start of the sentence as well. What was the third part?
The frivolous bullshit.
Yeah. Like the glass on the table and whatever. Leave it out. Why are you putting it there in the first place? On what planet do you think that your reader is interested in Aunt Lil's glass on the side table with the condensation on the side? You're not adding to the scene. You think you are, but you're not. You're cluttering your scene. It's just filler. You're just padding your word count for no reason other than to make me mad and bore your reader and lose sales.
Well, we do not want to see you angry.
It happens. Anger happens.
Well, that's why you get paid the big bucks, right?
Yeah, one of these days. I mean, I hear I get paid big bucks, but
how long should you work with an editor before you know they're the right fit? Another question coming in from Twitter.
Okay, if you're working with an editor and you're not sure they're the right fit, talk to them first. Tell them what your reservations are. Explain, hey, I don't understand this, or I kind of feel this way. And if you can't reach a meeting of the minds, then find another editor. I mean, there's no law that says you have to wait years. It's not like 3 dates before you go to bed with somebody. It's if you're not comfortable with your editor and maybe you don't even want to talk to them about it. If you're not comfortable, if you're not happy, if you don't think it's working, it's absolutely your right to walk away. But you may have signed a contract that says they get to keep a whole lot of the money that you paid them. So, but sometimes if you're having a problem and you work through whatever the problem is, everybody figures out who's on what page, then things move on just swimmingly. So
now, is this what you were talking about before, where they can do like a guest edit? They can do a sample, take a sample of your work, and then edit it, and then that way ahead of time what their style is.
Yeah, well, you want to do that anyway, but it may turn out that you don't work well together in spite of what you thought was a good sample, or maybe you thought the sample was good and you realized it just wasn't what you wanted later. I mean, you have every right to change your mind, and people don't always get along with each other. Or people don't always work well together. People don't always compliment each other. So if you're not happy, then maybe you should just find another editor. In fact, if you express that to your editor, they probably will give you a referral to another editor.
That's pretty cool, giving a referral just in case.
Well, yeah, I give referrals all the time. And if somebody said to me, you know what, this isn't working for me, I'd say, well, okay, I'm sorry that you're not happy. Would you like a referral?
Right on. Yeah. That's pretty cool. So we're going to shelve some of these questions for a later episode so we can get into our dissection, destruction, and reconstruction of a sample submitted by someone to you so that you can show people the editorial process. But as you were saying right before the show, when we were in the green room. They this one doesn't have a lot of work that had to go into it.
This is what ideally what you want to send to an editor. Something that just needs a little cleanup. Okay, and I am going to, let's see, this is on me. Whoops. Whoops. There we go. All right. This is the sample, and it actually came from a fairly prominent writer with whom I have worked in the past. But, so it came into me like this. So the first thing that I had to do was Times New Roman that thing before I went blind.
Did he hit you in Comic Sans or something like that?
No, he sent it in Courier, which is like, talk about wearing your eyes out with Courier. I set it up a little differently this time, guys. Or I can change it back to the way I usually do it, which I probably should do because that's easier for you if I'm not changing the rules in the middle. That's a couple options. We're gonna show missions and balloons. There we go. I know it says that I'm the author. I'm not. So what I've done here, what I've had to do is I inserted a comma, one of those little curly thing that you were asking about. There needed to be a comma there for the word M. You know, they can't have them now. The apostrophe goes in the other direction. Always, always, always. I fiddled a little here. I changed watching into looking. Watching is one of those words that I keep harping on. That watching puts a filter between your reader and your character. You don't really want to do that. And as much as I dislike looking, in this case, looking was better than watching. He's looking over the wall at the Rebs. Okay. And see a little of this, a little of that. This sentence originally read, check the change. Bullets like a sheet of lead slam into the rocks and pass overhead like a hurricane. The problem with this particular sentence is, I know what he's trying to say. Bullets like a sheet of lead. He's trying to say the air is full of bullets, but it's kind of not phrased very well. And he used another simile later in the sentence, pass overhead like a hurricane. So you don't want like a sheet of lead, like a hurricane. So instead of trying to fix like a sheet of lead, I went ahead and deleted it. Bullets slam into the rocks and pass overhead like a hurricane. It's cleaner, it's simpler, and it's not confusing. It's not going to make you stop and think about it. If I have to stop and think about what you mean, then it's not written right, or it could be written better. Let me say it that way.
Can definitely see what you're saying though with all the like a sheet, like a hurricane, all in the same sentence.
Right. Yeah, the same simile, or a simile twice. But as you just looking over the changes that I had to make, I took some as's out. We'll do another episode on as because it crops up all the time. Right here, I offer a suggestion. We fire first, and I'm squeezing off aimed shots. Watching as the enemies drop. And I asked him, instead of watching, could we say maybe dropping the enemies, counting them as they drop, picking off the soldiers, anything besides watching? See, I had time to, does this sentence need finessing? Instead of going, oh my God, I have to change 56 things per page.
That never happens. This is what you
want your edit to look like, hopefully. But not at the expense of not getting a good edit. But like I said, this is a dream edit right here.
So in this case, you're like you were saying before, where you have to change 56 things per page. Something like this, you can groom the work so that it reaches its optimal level of conveyance, the idea to the reader, versus I have to fix all these spelling errors, I have to fix this, this is all in the wrong order, so forth and so on.
Sorry, Walt. There we go. Yeah, exactly. I don't have to mow the lawn and and rake up the leaves, I can plant flowers and,
Right on.
landscape a little.
Do you have me set on a separate camera? We cannot see your image. There we go. Boom. But yeah, that's pretty cool. That if somebody combs through their work and gets a lot of that garbage out of there, they can end up with a much cleaner edit from you because you get to concentrate on the pros versus just the mistakes.
Right. You don't want me doing construction. You want me doing the decorating.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Dude, tagline. And right next to it, we can superimpose a picture of you with a sledgehammer.
Yes, I have one.
You got to take that picture now.
I don't have one in the house.
Would you say you keep it in the house?
I said I don't have one in the house.
Oh. So when you get something like that and it's combed very well and it's groomed to a point to where now you just have to kind of bring out the author's intent, right? How long does that take versus, say, all the little fiddly bits that you sometimes have to deal with when somebody just submits a first draft?
Something like this compared to, it can take literally 10 times longer to do. I mean, we're talking about hours per page instead of pages per hour.
Right.
The difference is. So, and that also factors into what I charge you. If I can only do 2 pages an hour of your 340 page book, I'm going to charge you a whole lot more than this 5 page an hour job over here.
Right on. And that's going to translate to publication time too, as well. So that author's going to get that manuscript back a lot quicker from you.
Yes.
That's fantastic. So yeah, good things to know, because I mean, a lot of times, I'm on a lot of beta lists and beta reader groups. So people are sending me stuff a lot, and you see some of these. Listen, I'm trying to get this scene out. Can you give me a piece of advice on this? And they send it to you, and a lot of these little ticks are just pulling you right out of the narrative.
Yeah, exactly. Garbage in, garbage out.
So yeah, it's cool. It's really amazing to see, like, get that same scene back later, and you're reading the book for enjoyment versus to help somebody out, and you're like, oh my God, this is much cleaner. You can tell when the editor really digs in.
Yeah.
Well. That being said, we have reached the bottom of this recording. Any parting thoughts before we call this a podcast?
Keep writing. Keep writing, because you're only going to get better. And listen to your editor.
Yes, because they probably know more about the language than you do.
They're trying to help. That's the point. They're trying to help. They're not there to make you feel stupid or look worse. They're there to help you.
Unless certain people from the Keystroke Medium crowd. There's always some fun.
I swear, I'm there to help.
So please join us on Keystroke Medium for Monday for the live show. I'm not. Do they have one tonight because of the holiday? Not really. Not really sure. But please join us on Monday nights for Keystroke Medium Live with Josh and Scott and Chuck. And, when they do either Ask Me Anythings or roundtables or live constructions. Thursday, Kayleen and Lauren for their writer's journey, where they bring you through aspects of writing and how to get into the writing as a career. And, of course, Ask the Editor with the fantastic Ellen Campbell, who is here to help. This has been Walt, and keep reading, writing, and doing a little bit more, because it's fun. Cheers.